You know what's interesting? I was thinking we get two movies this year that have a really horrendous, cringe cheese grater scene. Welcome to Convo Fango. Today we are joined by Boy Kills World director Moritz Mohr and producer Simon Swart. Welcome, guys.
Hey, hey.
Hi.
Thanks for coming to
Hey.
hang out. So, Moritz, this is your feature directorial debut. It is also produced by Sam Raimi, who was one of the producers on this. Obviously, huge Sam Raimi fans at Fangoria. How was that experience working together? Did you work much, or was he just kind of like, this is awesome, go forth and make something cool?
No, so I we started the process of making this movie, I think about 7 years ago, 6 years ago. So and he was basically the guy when when took the proof of concept trailer to LA. He was like on day three. He was the fourth guy I met, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we've been on this journey for quite some time, and he's been an amazing collaborator. He was very involved in during the script stage, sort of the whole development of the script in different phases, and then he took the back seat during the shoot, and then he came back during the editing process, where he was a great help and a great collaborator, and it was amazing. I was a huge fan myself, so that's it. Couldn't have gone a better way, basically.
I think that's kind of like the dream collaboration, right? Like it's like you
It
have
is,
my
it is,
blessing, you
yeah,
have my help when you need it, but also just
yeah,
go and I trust you. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Just basically, we shot the movie, and then at one point, we had these sessions with him. It was like he came Zoom sessions because I was at that point in South Africa. No, I was already in Berlin editing, but he was there remotely, and we had like 2 hours every day for 2 weeks where we just watched the movie together and talked about every scene and everything, and it was fantastic. It was like getting one of your idols sort of giving feedback, detailed feedback to your movie, and really getting into the thick of it, and it was really great.
That's amazing. In some ways, this is kind of like elements of the Hunger Games by way of the Shaw brothers with like little bits of Deadpool sprinkled in. I obviously mean that in the most complimentary fashion because those are also my favorite things.
It was so funny because that came up in the, I think, one of the first, like, one of the test screenings of friends and family test screenings we did. It was like, what movie reminds you this movie of? And it was like the I think the second one was like Hunger Games. And never thought of this because for me, this sort of the culling thing was in the beginning was such a small thing. It was just like
Mhm.
1/5 of the movie, and but over the time it became more and more important, and we keep talking about it all the time. So, but yeah, suddenly there's a reference to the Hunger Games.
You said more Hunger Games is the notes that I'm getting here.
Exactly.
Yeah. What were some of your biggest inspirations for tone and aesthetic as you were making this?
So definitely the Revenge trilogy by Park Chan-wook.
Nice.
That's those are one of my three favorite movies. Um, and all the sort of I would like it. There's definitely some Deadpool influences there, and definitely on the action side, some John Wick stuff, and yeah. But I think, I mean, there's a whole barrage of things. I can't really name them all. There's like
Right.
little things here and there. I'm a big fan of Asian movies, Korean, Japanese ones. Takashi Miike is one of my favorites. And so there's a lot of stuff. The old kung fu movies,
Yeah.
definitely,
I
because
was
of
gonna
the Shaw
say,
Brothers. Yeah,
yeah, this is kind of like one of those things where it's like you grow up to make your dream project, I imagine. So it's like stuff that you saw when
exactly.
you were 12 that lives
Yeah.
forever in your subconscious and influences, right? Like
Drunken Master came up a lot when we talked about the training sequence in the beginning. The way that the master treats Jackie Chan, like sort of tortures him a bit. And like, yeah, let's do that with a kid.
yeah. One of my favorite things in this movie is that we get to experience it in a very unique way because Boy can't speak or hear. So we're sometimes only able to hear the other characters as well as Boy can read. their lips, which we learn is not always an easy task. So
Yeah.
that adds some so another element of what the fuck, and some unique kind of comedy elements to this otherwise very like action-packed, hellaciously gory movie. We have also this like very humorous kind of element to it as well.
Yeah, we really tried to make it funny, and it was and that's why we got all these very funny actors in, and I think they definitely took the whole script to made it their own and added their personal touch to all the characters.
Yeah. Let's talk about the cast. You've got huge names in a rather unconventional script. So did you have kind of any qualms initially about approaching like these very big name actors with this kind of thing, or did you know they were going to be into it?
I didn't sort of think they would definitely be into it. Because you never know, right? It's you send it out there, and then sometimes you get it back like, oh, I do not know what this is. Thank you. I do not understand this. And sometimes you get it back, hell yeah, I always want to do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a mix and match. Sometimes it was like this, but the people we got, they definitely all got it, what we were trying to do. And that was really a pleasure to work with in that scenario, because there's nothing more difficult than sort of getting somebody on board who is not like, doesn't get it or doesn't want to get it or anything.
Right.
Like, it's hard. But no, the people we had were really into it, and they're all like having fun with their characters. And like there's some 10 to 15 minute takes of Brett Gelman and Sharlto Copley just spitballing and really with 100 extras surrounding them, or 150 extras. And I was like, yeah, just let it roll. Let it roll. Let's see what happens.
There's obviously tons of action for Bill Skarsgård here. I'm sure, like, what kind of training did he have to undergo for this?
Well, we tortured him. We really put him through the ringer. I can't deny that. He had all the action stuff and the acting stuff. And the more committed your main actor is, the more you can actually shoot with him. And we wanted to shoot as much with him as possible, sort of in the Tom Cruise kind of way, where we go like, hey, don't double him. And sometimes we needed to double him or like replace with it because we didn't have the time. That came because we still sort of in a low budget realm, and we wanted a lot of bang for our buck. But he wanted to do everything, and sometimes he couldn't do it, and he was a bit pissed. But no, he really knocked it out of the park, and he trained a lot. And there's obviously getting the whole in shape thing. That's one part, and then it's the choreography he has to learn, and that's like, yeah, basically like dancing, like learning the moves, and which are physically very demanding, and you have to actually remember them. So yeah, we put him through the ringer, but
and then we added on to that, by the way, Bill, we want you to do all that and no dialogue. And you have to look at the people that are talking to you, because remember, you can't hear. So let's just add that layer on as well.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, there were so many instances where he's doing these crazy things and it doesn't cut away. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Bill Skarsgård doing all this really crazy shit.
Yeah, he did a lot of crazy shit. Definitely.
You guys touched upon this wordless performance, which adds a whole nother layer to it. But so what is that like when you're shooting that? Are you reading lines? Are you recording a voiceover and he's acting to that? Or do you record the action first and then do voiceover later? Like, what is that process like? Because that's a lot to think about in a performance.
It is, and there's actually also two different kinds of things. Where one thing is just, yeah, he looks at something and he has a voiceover, so he has to act the voiceover out. And then there are these conversations that he has with his sister, where she actually has to answer, and there needs to be a timing and a rhythm. So we thought out this crazy thing with in-ear buds, where he would record something and then she would hear it and he would hear it and he would time it. And it took us so much time, and it was so complicated that at one point we were just like, all right, drop it. Let the first AD read the lines. Bill did one performance with dialogue in the beginning, like 1 or 2 times. Then we had the timing down, and then the first AD just read the lines, and then we moved on.
And it worked.
It did, yeah. Don't we overthunk it. Is that a word?
Overthought. Oh, we can overthunk it too. Yeah. But
I like overthunk.
I like overthunk too. It's hard not to for something like that, right? Because I feel like you're thinking exactly. Like, okay, the most genuine and the most accurate is going to be for him to record the line and then hear that playback, and for the other actor to play off of that, when it's like, okay, I guess it really didn't need to be on.
Yeah, what Moritz got was pretty amazing, because it's such an absurd character, right? Boy is really strong, capable and competent and lethal, obviously, as a martial artist, but he's also naive and innocent at the same time. And he doesn't have dialogue. I mean, just watching, honestly, for us as producers, watching Moritz dance that line and watch Bill dance that line, it was honestly, it was kind of a tightrope walk, because he's not just a badass. You've still got to maintain that innocence and naivety in the character. And I think Bill did that really well. That's, I think you see that collaboration coming out between Bill and Moritz.
You know what's interesting? I was thinking we get 2 movies this year that have a really horrendous, cringe cheese grater scene.
Can you imagine? You sit on set, and then Zainab comes in. She works for Raimi Production, and goes, "Oh yeah, we have a cheese grater scene in Evil Dead." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and it's there. It's horrible. I love it, but also ours is slightly different. So
it's a different vibe. They're 2 different vibes of cheese graters, and also at this point you guys just pretend it's like an Easter egg thing. Yeah, we just it's a through line.
I'm not mad, but it's funny that it happened, because it was really. No, but like I didn't know. Like
I figured that was the case.
I stumbled across. I was going through my old pictures and on my phone, and there was a screenshot of David and me FaceTiming, and David has the cheese grater on his arm. Basically, he just put it there and was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Yes, want that." And I think that thing is timestamped, so I've basically
I have proof. No, I love it. But I also like great minds. You know what I mean? It's such a simplistic, disgusting kind of thing. Also, the fact that it's something every single one of us has in our kitchen, and we've always in the back of your mind, you're like always like, oh, you get those knuckles away from that. It's just like,
is this piece of cheese too small, dude? Is it? Yes, it is. Oh god.
It's like, oh no, is that finger or cheese? I don't know. Like, no, very much praised upon that and plays with it in a fun way. And like you said, very different tone, very different vibe.